Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to be working on the rear air ride suspension. As you can see, we have everything kind of mocked up. And I think at this point, all I need to do is grab some hardware. So let's go ahead and do that. So the work van's still down and my wife's at work in the CRV, so looks like we're walking. So it's only about a half-hour walk to the hardware store from the house, so we're just gonna enjoy the rainy weather and walk on down over there. Just found an SK 7/16 socket on the ground. Okay, so we've made it back from the hardware store, and now I'm going to get started on the lower mounts, or the mounts that will go onto the axle for the airbags. And I think if you can remember last episode, I showed how I bent these up, and also that the plasma cutter for some reason hasn't been fully cutting out these holes. So before I weld these to the axle, I think I'm going to try to clean these holes up a little bit, and then also do a little bit of welding on this inside that I won't be able to get to once they're mounted. So that way it'll be nice and strong and it'll be nice and reinforced before I weld it to the axle, and also before I weld all these outside corners. I've gotten my airbags tacked in place with their brackets that mount to the rear end. And now, before I can make my upper brackets, I need to reinforce this area I cut out here in order so that I get my full travel. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm going to weld this C-channel up underneath here, upside down. I'll just do it and you'll see. I've got my pieces of C-channel welded in or tacked in on both sides. And what I need to do now is I need to prep these and get them ready to bolt my airbags to them. Just bolted the airbags back on, and now I'm going to get my plates bolted into place in their respective locations. got all of my airbag mounts in place. Airbags are bolted on. And I guess now all I have left to do is just clean up the areas I'm going to be welding and go ahead and start welding them in. But I'm quite happy with the way everything's coming out. I was just using this piece of steel to kind of lay out how I'm going to gusset this in once it's in place. But I'm going to go ahead and just start cleaning everything up and getting it ready to weld, and I'll probably just go ahead and weld it. strong enough. Definitely need to reinforce. So we got the airbags mounted and working. This is actually the first moving part other than the 4-link, or I guess the first functioning system on the car. The cool thing about it is it works and we have good travel. The pinion angle remains relatively the same through the travel, so I'm really happy with the way these airbag mounts and everything came out. This is super strong. I will be doing even more gusseting in the future, but I kind of want to wait until we start installing more, because I hate to have to gusset a bunch of stuff and then just have to cut it out later because it interferes with something I planned on doing in the future. So, well guys, thanks again for watching this video. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe. You know, a lot of people that are watching the videos aren't subscribed yet, and that really helps out the channel. But anyway, I think next video might be something a little bit different. So just stay tuned. I'm waiting on some parts for this car. So we might take a little bit of a break from this project just for probably a week. But just stay tuned to see what's coming next. But thank you guys again for watching, and looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video.